Hey everybody, welcome to Power Hour, starring me, Ron Harrison. Of course, the one and only, the inimitable Giles Tiger Thomas, all the way in the UK. Today we're going to talk about the Detroit Pro that just happened over the weekend, yesterday to be exact, Tim Wilkins versus Sam Sulek controversy, and we're going to finish up with men's physique. Are they getting too damn big? And now, Giles, did you watch any of Detroit, the big show from Fouad Abiad and his crew?
Yeah, I saw bits of it, and obviously I saw the highlights and catch-ups and all the different Instagram pages, because there's tons of them. They basically, they chop it up. And I spent several hours yesterday morning going through it all, reading the comments, looking at the pictures, looking at the high quality, the low quality, the stuff from the audience. And usually after every show, I'll spend, if I haven't watched all of the live stream the night before, even if I have watched the live stream, I'll still spend several hours the next morning going through everything and really analyzing and kind of coming up with ideas of my own. But obviously we got the top four. We got the top four bang on. So said William was going to win, Sassan second, James third, and RPG fourth. So I'm very, very, very happy about that. But I thought all four looked absolutely fantastic. They all delivered. I think William and James were both better than they were at the Arnold Classic. And Sassan Harati absolutely delivered, because I saw him last year at his comeback year, because obviously he didn't compete since 2018. Saw him at the Empro last year. He was fourth, I think he was fourth there. Yeah. And but he still needed more time to kind of come back. And in all the lead up pictures and all the videos, I thought, okay, he's put that size and thickness back on now. And I think he did absolutely fantastic, and delivered and predicted, looked exactly as I expected him and hoped he would be. So yeah, it was good.
So yeah, some people thought it was pretty close between Sassan and William. Other people thought it was a blowout. The scorecards did show a perfect score for William. Did you see it as easily straightforward first and second place, or do you think Sassan was pushing him at times?
I said that William would win and Sass would push him, and that kind of did happen. I mean, William didn't blow Sassan off the stage. It wasn't like 93 Dorian, 2003 Ronnie, where it's like, okay, as soon as he walks out, he's going to win. Yeah, he did push him, but I did have William winning quite clearly, and I had Sassan. I had William a solid first, and I had Sassan a solid second, and I had Hollinshead solid third, and that's exactly how it shaked out. So it was a pretty, I wouldn't say it was predictable, but it was. They all looked great and they all delivered, and the reason I'm saying it is because I actually did expect them to.
Yeah. I mean, it's a smaller show, but a lot of people are very appreciative of Fouad for the prize money was a little higher, $25,000 for first, free live stream, which I did the math. So he got 140,000 views on that video yesterday. If he had charged, say, $20 for a pay-per-view, and maybe it's a bit generous, but let's say he got 50,000 people to pay $20 for the pay-per-view, because he only had two divisions. I don't think you can charge a lot of money for that. That would have been $1 million. 50,000 times 20 is $1 million.
50,000 people. I mean, when we watched the Olympia one, that was at 4.6K at the highest peak, because it's not 150,000 people watching it. It's 150. Was it 150? Was it what did it say in the top left? Because if it says 10.2 or 8.3, that's how many people are watching it at any given time. And usually those people click off and they'll click back on. So you might look at it as total. Plus, I think it was a free. you're going to get a lot more eyes on it. So from sort of Fouad's point of view, he only had two classes, so he's probably thinking, do you know what? I'm going to be getting a lot of eyes on my brand, which obviously the brand supports the show. I mean, I've been going back and forth actually with a few people saying that basically shows now seems to be that shows are measured upon what the fans think about the black background and the distractions. But unfortunately, with with sponsors and stuff, they're kind of important now. And I don't like the flashing backgrounds, but they are what they are. But so from Fouad's point of view, he's probably going to think, okay, say I get 10,000 people watching it for free. Is that better than 2,000 people paying $20? So it's more exposure for his show, because the thing is, most of these pro shows, especially smaller pro shows like this one with only two pro categories and not $500,000 prize money like the Arnold, they are kind of funded a lot by the amateur show. That's what basically pays for the pro show.
Right.
He's probably just looking at it as like a sort of I don't know, break even promotional thing for Hostile. And I think what he did was pretty smart, and the lighting was good. I know that Gilco Productions helped with the lighting, which is very, very important, because it seems like most of these new fans won't know how good the lighting was back in the day at the Iron Man or the Night of Champions or some of these shows. So it was nice to see good lighting, and because what I don't understand, the Arnold Classic, it's always in the same venue.
Right.
How can 1 year the lighting be good and the next year the lighting not be good when they're just using the lighting probably that's actually in there? I don't understand the inconsistency of the lighting, because I watched the Arnold live stream, and the guys on the outside of the call out, you can barely see them. I mean, who was it last year? I forget, it was maybe Andrew or whatever. And you can barely see them, and if the judges don't move them around, they're at a clear disadvantage. So nice to see good even lighting. And I'm really happy for Fouad and his team, because obviously the show was bigger and better than it was last year. They had more competitors. It's a bigger show. So it's nice to see a new show like this growing, because remember when we saw the Boston Pro a few years ago in 22?
Yes.
Like that was a one and done. I mean, that was a show that was really, they threw a lot of money at it. They really, really put on a good show. They had some great competitors. It was by all means, by all sort of standards, a big success. And then it never happened again. So to see a show like this coming back and growing and expanding, I think is absolutely fantastic. So so we're happy for him. And excited. Obviously, this is going to be a good new show to add to the show calendar that's growing every year now.
Yeah. And, like I said, people were saying, the one thing I agree was a great show. I do kind of take issue with the fact that people say this is the standard for pro shows, because as we pointed out on our group chat, they only had 2 divisions. So it's a lot easier to run a great show when you only have, 30 athletes to worry about, as opposed to the Olympia has like 350. The black backdrop, they could afford to not have any signage on the stage or anything, because Fouad's company and Seth Ferrocci's company were the main title sponsors, I believe, Axe Sledge and Hostile. So they could get away with it. But, the Olympia, these companies pay a lot of money to sponsor shows, and they want people to know that their brand was, they want that brand recognition on stage. So not everybody could do this, even if they wanted to. Other promoters is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the benchmark, I mean, what are we talking about, American shows or European shows? Because, I mean, Europe shows, I mean, when some of these Americans and others come to the shows like the EVLS Prague, the Romania show, the Empro show, the Portugal show with the big revolving stage that comes up. I mean, that to me is I think the benchmark is pretty high from pretty much most of these pro sort of promoters. I mean, in America, 2 shows that stand out to me is the Legion show, the Texas Pro. I mean, you're saying that this show is better than the Texas Pro. The problem is, I don't want to get pulled into a discussion where it looks like I'm dissing this show, because I'm not.
Right.
I don't want them to start pitting this promoter against that promoter and saying, no, this is the benchmark. This is not as good a show, and this is why it's not as good. Because every show, this is a show that's in its second year, it's growing. So for me, it's moving forward and it's kind of improving. So I'd rather just focus on the positives, on the fact that, but to say that, to say something's a bench, I think it's a little bit disrespectful. If you want to really get into that, then, say the Texas Pro, which is, for me, that's kind of as, for a show of that size, that's as good as it gets, I think. And then you've got right at the top, you've got the Olympias and the Arnold, who are giving away $500,000 and $600,000 in first prize. And, they've got all these divisions. The Olympias got all divisions. The Arnold Classic's got multiple divisions. They've got huge expos. To me, that's the benchmark of what every promoter is trying to reach. And I'm sure this show will continue to expand and get bigger, and they'll get better lineups, and they'll add more pro classes, and the amateur show will get busier. So I'm a little bit uncomfortable with, because the thing is, people like me say, well, hang on a minute, what about Texas? What about Legion? What about this show? What about that show? And whereas kind of the fans are just looking at it from their own perspective of, I just like the fact it's got a free live stream. I just like the fact that it's got good lighting. I just like the fact it's got a black background. Right. When they don't look at the bigger picture, because, I've spoke to Dan and Jake about the flashing backgrounds and all that. And it's like, look, good luck trying to tell the sponsors that they can't have their branding, because most people see stuff from these shows, from stuff like we're watching now with James Hollinshead, and then it's the branding behind it. That's what gets people's eyes on that brand. So it's almost like a kind of conversation I don't really want to pull into, really, because like I said, I don't want to. Otherwise, you just end up going. I spent most of the morning just going back and forth with people about this, and I don't want people to think I'm putting this show down, because I'm not, because I'm really, really happy for them. It looked like a fantastic show, great atmosphere, nice venue, a lot of love and effort was put into that event. So and the athletes looked great, they all delivered, and I think it was judged right as well.
Yeah. So William got his Olympia qualification, which I'm sure he was going to get somewhere regardless. But, I thought he looked really good. I've got pulled into a couple arguments because I said I do think he looked a little better a few years ago. And that doesn't mean he didn't deserve the win. I judge people at a given show by whoever they're standing next to. And William, he won this fair and square. The scorecards prove it out. Mm-hmm. I'll pull up footage in a second of 2019 Olympia where he got second, where he's still holding on. He's still like 90% of that, but nobody stays the same. Nobody can hold a peak physique forever and ever.
I think he was better here than he was at the 2019 Olympia, because the 2019 Olympia, that was when he had the leg. Remember, he had the leg. I mean, let's be honest, that was a year that had no Phil Heath, had no Ramy, had no Roden. That was I don't think that was his best year. I think if you want to look at, say, 20, I think he was better now. I think he's I think he's got more detail and more sort of going on. No, I think he's better now than he is this year. I mean, if you want to look at it, let's look at the 2020 Arnold Classic. Let's look at the 2017 Olympia, the 2018 Olympia. That to me is peak Bonac. But I think he's looking. I think this is definitely the best he's looked since his kind of comeback of sorts in the last year or so. I think he's coming back close to his all-time best right now.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said that, because I think I was going to come across as a Bonac hater, and I'm not.
Oh, mate, do you know what? This whole thing, to be honest, man, I am struggling a bit with it at the moment. This, like I'm almost hesitant sometimes to kind of get involved in any kind of conversation, because you give any. I think now, because the media thing has all changed. I think, but back then, bodybuilders were used to being critiqued and reading the magazines and going on the play-by-plays and seeing all these teams of sort of media people at these shows. It doesn't happen anymore. People are basically fans now are on Instagram who maybe don't have the experience and knowledge, and they're giving their opinion, but it's not really based upon any sort of experience, so they're just kind of everyone's just giving their opinion based upon what they think on Instagram, rather than and I think the athletes now have got used to that. I think they've got used to having their ego stroked, and sort of and massaged a bit. And I think now you seem to have if you sometimes have a difference of opinion, or you critique their physique, even if it's in a positive, constructive way, you're kind of. Sean Ray was talking about it on that podcast the other week, saying, you're seeing we're in a sort of era now where critique now is seen as hate and negativity. And the athletes turn. I've had it happen in the last year quite a lot, actually. A lot of athletes really sort of like turning on me, and I'm hearing stuff being said about me behind my back when I leave the room when I'm at events. And it's happened, seriously. I mean, the stuff probably I could really talk about if I really blew the lid open. But I've had a lot of, I've had to deal with quite a bit of shit from the athletes. And I think that's why, like that last year with Global Muscle, I struggled a bit. I wasn't as enthusiastic because it just got harder to kind of even just get the athletes. Just to get to engage with you. Now, I mean, I'm from the era when they used to really like jump at being on a podcast, or they'd really appreciate you writing an article about them. But I mean, it's happened to me in the last couple of years where I've written an article in MD and I've messaged them and I've said, "What do you think of the article?" And they don't even message you back. And I'm thinking, well, that was a really good article. It's a really in-depth article. It's, put a lot of effort into that, And then, so I don't know. I think we're just living in a different era now. I think people they're just not used to having critique. And I think with social media. And they're on, so even if they're not answering or liking, they're watching and reading everything that's said about them. So I think now if they shut down, really, the shutters come down really fast now. I mean, I remember when I used to have athletes calling me or texting me or DMing me and saying, "What was your opinion? What can I improve on?" Blah, blah, blah. But now they're just like, you're a hater, you're negative, you're against me. I've given you interviews and now you're treating me like this. And it's like, look, guys, I'm just. I don't know. It's a different era now, and it's to be honest, I find it quite sad.
No, I agree, and I think it's because of social media that they're getting so much positive feedback. Even even when they're off at a show, they'll still have people tell them they were robbed, and it's just they're getting a lot of feedback from people that don't have a good eye for physiques or don't understand judging and things like that. So I think it has an impact. But moving on,
they're getting what it is. They're getting that dopamine hit 1,000 times a day. and then read that one comment, and then straight away the alarm starts going in their brain, and they're saying, this guy's against you, this guy's a hater. And also, if you've got a little bit of, I wouldn't say influence, or you're a recognized name, and you know that people are going to be reading that, and maybe you do have a bit of a following, and you know that people do listen to your opinion, you know that Giles is going to go to the show and actually he's going to give commentary and it's going to be heard by a lot of people. Like, they get really defensive, they get really worried, and I've had coaches and stuff messaging me direct about certain topics, let's say, and I'm like, you're not going to change my opinion. I mean, me and Milos had that fallout last year. Yeah. A couple of years ago when I said that I felt Andrew Jack won the prejudging at the 23 Arnold Classic, and then he ended up getting third. Nick was second, and Samson pulled it out the bag for the second day. Looked amazing. Yeah. But like, Milos just couldn't get his head around it. He was trying to change my opinion. I'm like, you're not going to change my opinion. This is my opinion. And then it comes down to the fact that we're not allowed to have an opinion. And if it differs, then they will basically just hound you until you basically go, oh yeah, I'm going to change my mind. And I'm willing to change my mind, but you see what you see. You say what you see. It's like that's why I like doing the live commentary, because you get my instant reaction, especially when it's amateurs and you don't know anyone, and then you can't be accused of, oh, that's you're only saying that because you know that person or whatever. It's like, oh,
true. So, I forgot, why was Sasan out of competition for a while? I have no memory of that.
You had kids.
Oh,
yeah. I think he's got 2 kids now. I mean, he was doing really well. Do you remember he got 5th in the Up Pro in 2017 when Sergio won it?
Yeah.
And then he got 2nd at the Cali Pro. Was it to Nathan Diasher in 2018?
That's right.
Was it 2018? Yeah. And he was he was really like making a good impression. He was getting good placings. And then boom, he just kind of disappeared. And I was like, oh, gutted. I was absolutely gutted. I saw Sasan at the gym. I took Andrew Jack last year, and Nathan traveled over and trained with him. And this was the gym he trained at. And I said to him, because I saw him, obviously he's at the commentary at the M Pro last year, where he made his kind of comeback of sorts. And I could see, you probably went and looked up that commentary. You'd probably hear me saying, okay, this is SAS, but this is not full SAS. Because he's still kind of, he still needs probably another good year to kind of get back to where he was and beyond. And I could see in the lead up and all the videos and stuff like that. I could see that. That's why I said SAS is back. I said the 2018 size is back and then some. So he's obviously, this is more like the SAS that I was used to. Because I remember when he was an amateur, he was incredible as an amateur. And so now that was his starting point last year, and now he's built on that foundation. And I think now with this momentum coming and kind of the confidence that I'll give him, because imagine being out for 5 years, like from last year, 2018 to 2023, 5 years, it's got to kind of mess with your head a little bit. You got to kind of, you're thinking, where do I fit anymore? Am I good? I mean, you got to try and work out where you are in the rankings. Do you know what I mean? So, but he did the warm-up show last year. He's got a good placing here. He wasn't blown away by Bonac, who's a top, top Olympia guy. So his confidence has gone through the roof in the last week. So I'm really hoping that he goes to FIBO and wins it.
Yeah, FIBO's only a couple weeks away, correct?
Yeah, I believe. I spoke to AJ before, and he said that SAS is. He said he's thinking. He said he spoke to SAS, and he said SAS is thinking of doing it. It was like, well, if Bonac's pulled out, you're the front runner, so go and do it. I heard the prize money is pretty good. And it's a qualification. So, and you'll only be going up against the guys that he's like James and stuff who he's already beaten. So it makes sense for him to go and do FIBO. I think he can beat Sergio.
Well, I mean, I always want, I don't know if he can or can't. I don't know what Sergio's going to end up looking like, but I would love to see, I'd love to see that matchup.
Yeah, SAS versus Sergio will be a good one. I mean, I don't actually know. I'm not sure I can say who would beat who. I suppose we're just going to find out. But I would say right now, with SAS pushing Bonac. Plus, it's he's back home, and then he's got like 2 weeks. That's a good little amount of time to tweak things. I think he could have a good chance of beating Sergio at the FIBO. But like I said, we never know how Sergio's going to look. If Sergio's improved, then it might be game over, and Sergio wins it. But if I was SAS, I would be 100% putting my name down for this show in FIBO in Germany. Fair
enough. I just want to give a shout out to James. I think Hollingshead's getting better and better. 3rd place.
Better from when? From when?
I've been watching this guy since like 2017, 2018. He's put on the mass. The criticism he keeps getting is his abs, that they're not very developed. Certain poses of his I'm not crazy about. The only poses of his I really don't like a lot are the front double and the front lat spread. I think it's just kind of a lack of a V taper, maybe. He's just not super wide. He doesn't have wide clavicles, but yeah, him and Boss of Outlaw are figuring it out, I think.
Do me a favor, look at that comment I put on there on the right.
Possibly the best package I've seen. Full hard dry looks awesome.
Okay. So I said that, and have a look at what people responded.
Let's see. Giles, you're on crack.
Yeah, I borrowed some off Jay.
Where's the abs? Unfortunately, genetic thing, thin ab wall doesn't major disservice. 100%. This is nowhere near proper competitive. Oh boy. It's just the first call out with 2 top 10 Olympians. Oh, that's guy's arguing with the other guy.
Yep.
Wheels on him. What the fuck are you talking about, man? Giles Tiger, do you know what hard work and dry look like? Well, do you, Giles?
Yes, I do actually. Yeah, I did it without a coach too.
Look at my contest pictures. You can't be serious. Giles Tiger, not even close. Best was Spain by far.
So basically, that guy there thinks, because obviously, if you know that he did Spain in 2020, then you pretty much do follow the sport. So what are you saying? Are you saying that James in 5 years hasn't improved? He's actually gone backwards. He was better 5 years ago. So I tried to say something that I think this is a good package for James. I think he looks really, really good. Yeah. So when somebody says something like, "No, he looked better in Spain," like that was 2020, wasn't it?
Yeah,
2020. Yeah, it was 2020 because he beat Regan, he beat Raphael. It was a good lineup. I remember he was really upset with me because I was watching the live stream on this laptop and it was a really terrible resolution. And I said on the play-by-play, I said, "Yeah, I've got to definitely go to top 5," and he won. Wow. So, and I asked James for an interview a few months later, and he sent me quite an angry text saying, because he was annoyed that I'd said that. And I was like, well, technically, I wasn't wrong. You did make top 5.
Right.
So, yeah. But no, I said to him, and I said actually on the forum back then, obviously back in the day, I said, well, look, I'll be honest. I said, I don't like doing play-by-plays. This was back then. I don't like doing play-by-plays from live streams. That was when we started. Remember, that's when we started to really, really do them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I never liked it because it was before I actually started hooking it up to the TV, and I'd watch it on both at the same time, and then I'd analyze on all the Instagram feeds afterwards, and to really give my opinion. But we were having to do live play-by-play from the live stream, onto my phone, onto the forum, from watching it on a laptop, and I didn't like it because the thing is, I was working for MD, and I kind of felt like I had to. So I kind of just gave my opinion based upon what I could see, and I think it didn't go down too well. So that's why sometimes I'm a little hesitant to. I was a little bit hesitant to sometimes go from, those live streams when sometimes you might be watching it on and something and if the live stream's not really, because live streams are better now, they're better quality, there's more camera angles, it's better resolution, it's better Wi-Fi connection, you can see more what's going on. So, I think James looked good. It was a good, solid performance, and I'm happy for him. Yeah.
Right now, Carlos. Someone asked me in the chat when I was doing it with Mike that who you think has the best potential. I think it's this guy, Carlos. Carlos was not. I thought he was going to. He had 4 weeks. I thought he would for sure be sharper than he was at the Arnold. Doesn't look like he got any leaner at all. Unfortunately, still looks like he had a good 10 to 15 pounds to go to be really proper contest condition.
I know. I'll be honest. I didn't know what to expect. So I didn't know whether he was going to be better than the Arnold. I don't know. I kind of. That sounds awful, but I had low expectations.
Well, I mean, because
he's just what I said. I mean, even before the Arnold Classic happened. Remember, I said on here on the Power Hour, and I said on all the Instagram comments, I said until he brings up the back and conditioning, he's going to be a what if. Because like you said, we were all blown away by the pictures in the lead up. Those frontal bicep, there's so much going on, but he needs serious improvements to his physique. He's got to bring that back up. Yes. He's going to have to bring up. It's not just conditioning; it's separation as well. Remember what, when he does that shot, basically the thing is, I've seen Derek Lunsford improve.
Yes.
The Olympia last year were there's no striations in his chest. Like James, he has a lot of striations going on, a lot of detail in certain areas. But you know what? You can improve, and I think Derek Lunsford really, really proved that. Because it's funny, I was training at a different gym on the weekend. I was doing legs at Ultraflex gym in Leeds. Gym I used to train at years ago. Yeah, there's a chain of them now. This was the first one. Me and Laura just fancied a change. Yeah. And I looked up, and they had on these big screen TVs in the gym. They put on the Arnold Classic live stream, And I watched it, and I just got off the leg press, and I looked up, and then Derek Lunsford was walking out for his posing routine, and it was really shocked me because it kind of hit me just how much better he was and how much improved he was. And it was funny because I was seeing the side shots, and I was like, those side shots are actually strong shots for him now. The side chest, the side tricep, they were weak shots for him last year. Even when he won the Olympia, they were weak shots.
True.
So the reason I'm saying that is I'm hopeful that, whatever these guys can do to improve, other guys can duplicate that as well. So I'm sure there's plenty of fans writing Carlos off, but it's just a few tweaks here and there, isn't it? We've all seen it where pros have. Remember Gustavo Badal? He wouldn't have thought that he would be a top 3 Olympia guy 2 years later. I mean, what was he? 2022 Olympia, he was like nowhere. 2 years later, he comes in and he's third place. So
I think he was third place 2 years in a row, I believe.
Yeah, 2004, 2005. So we've seen it. Jay Cutler, 2008. Would you have believed that he could have come back like he did in 2009?
Nope.
Ronnie in 2003. We've seen it happen. So, and I really like Carlos as well. I know that shouldn't have anything to do with it, but I am rooting for him, and I think he's a smart guy.
Yes.
And I really, 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 really hope he can nail it. I really, really hope he can do what he needs to do. He needs to go to war on that back.
Yes.
So,
it's like upper chest and back. I think upper chest, back, and condition. He sorts those out, and he's winning shows easily.
Yeah, and obviously I'm not a hater because it's funny enough. I was chatting to Andrew Jack. I told you the week, and that's after the Arnold. I messaged him. I said, mate, you're gonna have to go to war on those legs for the next 6 months if you want to, even have a chance of winning the Olympia or being top 3. And he said, yeah, I know, bro. He said, thank you, and he appreciated it. Do you know what I mean? He didn't see me as a hater. It's I really, really hope he can figure it out. But he's someone that he kind of has disappointed this season because I think we were all thinking he might be the dark horse at the Arnold Classic and shows like this. Yeah. And I mean, he got beat by guys who arguably not even in his league, but they were probably just in better condition.
They were. All right, so let's move on to what it was actually the closest battle was in Classic Physique between Matt Grego and Wesley Visser. So Matt had beat him at the Arnold 4 weeks prior. Matt had been third place, and Wesley had been
fifth.
Sorry, yeah, he got beat by 2 people ahead of him. But Matt was at the judging. He was not as sharp as he'd been at the Arnold, and Wesley looked better than he did at the Arnold. So after judging, I was going with it was close, but I was going with Wesley, and I think the scorecards sort of reflected that because in the final analysis, Wesley only lost to Matt overall by 1 point.
100% Wesley should have won that.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I mean, to be honest, both have, if you look in this now, both have got their strengths and weaknesses. Wesley, yes, there's the legs and the hamstrings and the glutes and stuff, which you can see, like certainly from the back, you can see they're a little bit weak. But Matt, I think he lacks chest and arms. I think he's a fantastic bodybuilder. But okay, I'm going to ask a question now. I'm going to put you on the spot now. Do you think, honestly now, if Wesley hadn't said after Detroit, regardless of what happens, I'm not going to do the Olympia, even if I win, do you think that hurt him when it came to the flip of a coin decision here? This is easier than me giving my opinion and putting you on the spot, putting you in the shit.
Well, I will just say that if I was a judge and you could flip a coin, it's that close, and I know one guy has already stated he has no intentions of going to the Olympia, and the other guy he really wants to go to the Olympia. Yeah, I would go with the guy who's going to go to the Olympia and give him the qualification versus.
See, I don't even want to. I don't even want to believe that was even entered in, even subconsciously into their minds. I don't want to believe that because, I spoke to someone and he said everyone, most of the people that my friend spoke to, he said that they all had Wesley winning.
Wow.
And I think Matt looked fantastic. I think he's fantastic. He's absolutely incredible. I think he's a fantastic new addition to the Classic. He's really Derek Lunsford's training partner. It's exciting to see new faces. Beating some of these bigger names at the Arnold Classic. He's a new superstar to an already absolutely rammed class. But when Wesley came out, I was messaging Wesley on Sunday. I said, man, I'm so happy for you and Marley. I said, you really sort of plus it proves that when they say, oh, I was sick and I lost all this weight in the last people, I'll be honest, most people just roll their eyes. They don't really believe that. Yeah. But this kind of proves that they were telling the truth. They were being honest because he's like, no. But I think he might have made a mistake by declaring that regardless if he won Detroit, that he was going to do Olympia. And I honestly now, I think he should change his plans. I think if I was him, I mean, obviously I've got no influence. I would go and do FIBO, win FIBO, go do the Olympia, and I would still love to see what Bumstead did, and then just take the safeguards off and go do the Prague show as an open, and then just close off the year, because this was some of the best Wesley I've seen. I think he looked absolutely fantastic, and I 100% think he deserved the win. But like I said, I'm not taking anything away from Matt Gregor. I think he's brilliant. But like you said, Matt was better at the Arnold. Wesley was better here. So if it was that close, third and fifth, there's not a lot in it. I think Wesley got a raw deal here. I honestly thought I actually messaged him. I said, I messaged him and William Bonac after the prejudge, and then I sent the same message. I said, "You've won that, mate."
Wow. Well, here's the thing. I mean, if he does the Olympia, let's say he does what you would want him to do and goes to FIBO in a couple of weeks and wins that, he's not going to have much time to make the improvements to his legs, particularly the hamstrings and the glutes that they need to be made, because the Olympia, he's up against Sommerfeld, an improved Terrence Ruffin, Ramondino, Urs Kalaczynski, a couple other guys that are going to give him a really hard time with those legs. I mean, from the back, his legs look right there. They look awful. I'm sorry. From the front,
do you know what? I think in his side shots, the legs don't look too bad. I mean, when he did his what was doing a side shot, then I was just looking there as you were talking. It was he was turning to the left. Yeah. His legs look good from the front. They're nice and separated. They're nice and evenly developed. The side, he had a nice ham drop. But you're right. When he turns to the back, they're definitely not even as good as they were last year when he won the Arnold. That to me is his upper body's incredible. It's fantastic, and he was nice and full. Just wait till he turns to the side now. Just wait till he turns to the side. Yeah. He'll hit the shot now. You can see. I mean, I thought his legs looked good. But yeah, you're right. From the back, they are definitely weak. So it's not like it was. And he was nice and full for this, so it wasn't like he was just flat. Here we are, this shot here.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think his glutes look good, the hamstrings look good. Yeah. He's got a nice drop. He's got nice deeps. He's got nice clear separation between the quad and the hams. Yeah. But from the back, he was definitely better last year when he won the Arnold.
So if he's got to be very close to the weight cap, whatever it's like 242, whatever it is for him, right? He's got to be right there.
He's bang on it, yeah.
So how does he put a few pounds on those legs without growing out of classic?
Yeah, exactly. Well, but he did it last year for the Arnold when he won.
Okay.
They were better last year, and he won him the Arnold. He beat Ramon, he beat Urs, he beat De Bull. So it's not like they've never been there. But I know I keep going on about it. I would love to see him just do an open show.
Oh, I mean, everybody wants to see all the top classic guys at least try open.
But I was there in Prague, and Bumstead looked so much more impressive, and he was only about 5 or 6 pounds heavier, wasn't he? Yeah. What was he? I think his limit was 242, and he weighed in Olympia 241.5. And I think I'm sure, because I was asking at the show, I was asking everyone, and I heard that he was 248 for the, that's 6 pounds. Look, I mean, I had him winning. I had him winning the whole show, beating Martin, who just took 4th in the Olympia, arguably should have been 3rd. So I based upon how I saw how he looked at that guest posing 2 weeks out from the Olympia last year, that German guest posing, what would he be 2 weeks out? 8 pounds, 6 pound over the weight limit?
Couldn't be much more than that.
He looked fucking huge. He looked incredible. So for me, I think he'd surprise himself. And I'm not saying, obviously, I don't think he would go in and win, the Open Prague, but I think he would look good, and I think that we. And also, the thing is, if he just got ready for Prague, say from, obviously, he's not doing any more shows now. He comes off his contest prep now as a holiday, because he told me he's got a vacation planned in the summer with him, his wife and Mali and the kids and stuff. So imagine if he just had like a proper, because you know how these guys prep. I mean, like I was watching a video of Bumstead, and he was saying in the off season, he never went higher than 500 mg of gear, and it's just a little bit of test and whatever, and they to try and hold his body weight, because classic guys do train and prep and take gear and eat and train. They do train differently, especially if they know that they're just about squeezing into a weight cap. Right. So someone like a Wesley, if he prepped as an off-season bodybuilder, as opposed to a classic, and not having to worry too much about getting too heavy or too big, or if he just basically took the restraints off, I think, say from now, I think he would look absolutely sensational. And then there's nothing to stop him sort of going back to classic the year after. But I think it would be really exciting. I think it would be a good talking point. I think it'd be good publicity for him. And I mean, if I was a sponsor of ESN, I'd be like, I think you should try this. Do you know what I mean? Because you've got nothing to lose, because nobody's coming in expecting you to see you coming in and win this. But if you just came in and you look completely transformed, because he is I did the tour last year. He's really big, mate.
Yeah.
And that's him holding back.
Right.
So if he had a proper off season and went and prepped as a bodybuilder, not a classic, as a classic guy that has to worry about making weight, and obviously you know what that means with food and gear and training. There's going to be certain things they're going to have to do to make sure they don't. It's almost like they're holding back. He has to hold back. He can't afford to come in and be 10 pound over the weight limit when he's shredded. He has to make sure he makes weight, or the whole year's work goes down the toilet. True. So, but imagine come back as an open. I mean, I just think it'd be amazing. I'm sure he's not going to listen to me, but it's just my own fantasy, of something I'd like to see him do. Because I know how exciting it was when we saw Bumstead at the Prague show last year. It was incredible.
Oh, that show was almost as exciting to a lot of the fans as the Olympia had been a couple weeks before.
Yeah,
Bumstead has 25, 30 million fans, official fans. And they were
and that was 4 weeks prep as an open.
Yeah. And you got to be right there. You saw it up close in person.
Imagine Wesley with like 8, 9, 10 months to sort of get it in his head that he wants to do. What is it? How many months is it now? Hang on, it's 5, isn't it? 5? No, hang on. April. It's like 7 months, 7, 8 months.
Yeah, I bet he could come in 20 pounds heavier. I bet he could.
And the thing is, he'd be full bursting. I don't know. He's just, I think we all get excited, even when like Sean Clarida and guys like that, or Angel Calderon or Kamal do open shows. Sometimes they bring in a completely different package, and they look bloody impressive. Especially remember those guys like Ronnie Raquel or Hidetada that were successful open guys, ready at about 220, 225, and then they kind of strategically pull themselves down so they can do 212. Obviously they're going to look more impressive as an open, but I quite like it when these pros sort of jump categories. I think it's cool.
I want to show you something cool that they did here. I hope I don't know why I'm getting a lag on these video clips, but they did a pose down or a comparison at the very end of the night between Matt Grego and William Bonac. It was purely for fun, but they did do an online poll, and William won with like 630 some odd votes to Matt's 360 some odd votes. So 2/3 of the people did prefer the William Bonac physique over Matt's, but this is I've never seen a promoter do this before. Have you? Open versus classic?
Well, we saw it in Prague, didn't we?
No, I mean,
no. I've been facetious. I've been facetious. Obviously, Bumstead versus Martin. No, I don't know. I don't want to be all sort of sort of uppity about this. And I mean, personally, I don't think there's any need to do this, but it's obviously for a bit of fun, and I'm sure the crowd loved it. But I feel, do you know what it is? I remember at there was the Nabi Universe years ago. They used to basically have a pro-am. They used to have a pro class, and then you'd have a few of the guys that won overalls or worlds or something in the pro, and you'd have like 3 or 4 pros. And then what they would do is they would take the winner of the amateur, and then they basically 1 minute you're up on stage and everyone's clapping, and you're like you're Mr. Universe amateur, you're the best amateur in the world, obviously in their eyes. And then 20 minutes later, you're 5th place in the pro show. I just think it's a real downer, like Matt's just, he's just beat Wesley. He's, and there he is next to, like a top Olympia guy, and pretty much getting his ass kicked. Because I think it makes him look, let's not get too up. Yeah, I'm just, I probably wouldn't have gone for this if I was the promoter, but so what? It's just a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. It was a fun thing that, I don't think the IPB Pro League has any rules against them doing things like this. It had nothing to do with it. Was just for the fans, and I thought it was really cool. People have said they should do that at the Olympia. They should let the 212 winner pose down against the
God, no, because you've seen what happens when, like, say, Sean Clarida jumps into the Olympia, or Dave Henry when he did it back in the day, and then they're like the best 212 or best 202 on the planet, and they go to the Olympia and they're like 12th. It's no, I don't think you should do that. I don't think definitely shouldn't be doing that at the Olympia.
Fair
enough. I don't. I had something else to say on this as well. What was it? Yeah. Oh well, no fun.
Yeah, very well. So I'm going to try to transition right into the next topic, which was some comments that Tim Wilkins, who's emceed a lot of shows, including the Olympia, made regarding Sam Sulek on the Primetime Muscle Show. First, let me see if the clip will play properly, and if not, I'll go to the Instagram post.
And I'm gonna direct this to Sam, and I'm gonna say it from the coach. I coach kids who ask me about you all the time. I had my millennial son ask me about you the other time. I do not think you're good for the sport. I think you're garbage for the sport, and garbage as an influencer. And I think the Jay Cutlers and the Phil Heaths of the world need to take you aside and say, you got a great future ahead. If you want to see 30, there's some things that need to change. You have 6 to 10 million young people following you. You're eating like you know what. You show it on your skin. You're taking things that are way beyond your skill level. Build to your max first. And I'm gonna direct this to Sam, and I'm gonna say it from the.
So yeah,
I'm gonna let you go first on this one, Ron, and then I'll give you my take, mate.
Fair enough. Yeah, he actually backpedaled a little bit about that. I've been critical of Sam too, but the more I think about it, is he really influencing kids to take steroids? He never actually. I've watched a few of his videos. I can't say I've watched them all. He's very he produces amazing content. When I sat and looked at his videos, I totally understood his appeal. But he never talks about his gear use ever. Whereas there's a lot of influencers who that's all they talk about is I use this much tren, this much GH. Sometimes they show the bottles, the needles, all this, and that's far, far worse. As far as the diet, yeah, I don't like the fact that he's showing himself eating these burgers and fries and drinking gallons of chocolate milk and donuts. But he's a kid. He's 23. He cleaned up the diet for the show like he needed to. Garbage influencer. I mean, who's a good influencer? What's the standard? What do you compare that to?
They're all tossers.
Who would you consider like, oh, this influencer is great? I think that everything they put out is perfect content. So yeah, to come after Sam, it was, and I cringed because, I like Tim. I know Tim. I said he's going to get roasted. This is like in a fundamentalist Muslim country, talking poorly about the Prophet Muhammad. His fans are very, very loyal, very devoted to him, very defensive of him, because Sam, to his credit, he never responds to critics. He never responds to negativity. He ignores it all. He just keeps doing his thing. He's a young guy who loves training, loves bodybuilding. There was another clip where Tim, and I was guilty of this. Tim criticized how easy it was for Sam to turn pro. He went into easy shows with just a couple guys.
The Arnold Classic.
Well, the Arnold Amateur was pretty easy compared to when you and I used to cover the Arnold Amateur. It was a much, much more competitive.
Hang on. You don't know who's going to turn up to the Arnold Amateur. And that, I remember when Andrew Jack said to me, he said the reason I did the Arnold Amateur, he said I went for that one because they said, his friend said to him, go do this show at this country because you'll get an easy pro card. And he says, no. He says, if I'm going to get annihilated at these small shows, then I'm not worthy of a pro card. I'm going to go to a show where the likelihood of having better quality competitors is there. If they don't show up and the quality's not there, you've still gone into basically the biggest show that you can potentially go to. I mean, he could have shown a lot easier shows than the Arnold Classic. To be honest, I'm a little turned around. I've got a little more respect for Sam since he decided to compete and also do the Arnold Classic. And the thing is, okay, I'll be honest. When I saw this, firstly, I've never seen Sam Sulek's videos. I'm not his demographic. I've got no interest in watching his videos. If I was 21, then yes, and I was 21 right now, then I probably would be following his videos and I'd probably be loving everything he puts out. But obviously I'm, 48 and I've been training for years and I've got no interest in watching that. Yeah. So I assume you actually corrected me once on this podcast and you said that, I said, oh, is he talking about gear? And I mean, in my head, I'm seeing videos of him pulling up, and injecting it. And you can imagine him talking about it in that kind of serious, like nerdy voice he has, and going into detail. But you corrected me and you said, no, Giles, he doesn't do that. And I was like, oh, sorry, hands up, fair enough. So I messaged Tim and I said, you're going to get some shit for this, mate. And he said, what's your take? And I said, well, am I wrong in assuming that he's talking about gear and bad food and bad training? And he basically said, well, yes. And I was like, well, maybe somebody needed to say it then. But you know what? It doesn't matter what his diet was like. He got on a contest diet and he looked bloody good.
Yeah.
I just, I mean, I think if maybe he hadn't competed and he's talking about drinking chocolate milk and eating burgers, and the thing is, we all have cheat days. And I mean, like, to be honest, looking back, I think I probably, when I was at a certain age, I actually probably ate too strict. And I think actually it held me back. And I remember when I started, I remember speaking to Ian Harrison, and he made me go through my diet. I was only about 15, 16 or something. Wow. And I told him, and I said, 6 egg whites. And he said, what are you doing with the yolks? And I said, I'll throw them away. And he says, why? He says, what the hell? He said, when I was your age, he says, I ate everything that wasn't nailed down. And that's how I grew. And that's how I just trained like a beast in the gym. And I kind of changed my attitude. And I remember I started eating a bit more normally. And I started growing. I started getting bigger. I started putting weight on. I was getting stronger in the gym. So, and then obviously, it doesn't really matter what he's eating if he's, because like I said, all people have cheat meals. He's obviously showing every aspect of his bodybuilding. And, if that inspires people and gets people in the gym, like Lee Priest made a good point. And he said, when I was 23, he says, I was taking gear. I've been competing 10 years by that point. A lot of 23-year-olds take gear and don't look anything like right. Sam. I think he looks fantastic. And I think, I think the word garbage, I think he kind of got a bit, I don't know. I think Tim has to regret that, I think. Oh,
he's already sort of
backpedaled
a little bit on it because
he went a bit, I was cringing watching that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you don't come after Sam Sulek. You just don't.
Yeah, it's like you can say. I think he messed up there. I think he messed up, and I loved him. I think he's a really good guy, but I think he went a bit hard there. And I think I don't see how Sam could be garbage for the sport, like rubbish. I don't think he could be garbage for the sport when he's just competed. He's won his 2 shows. He's just got his pro card. He didn't strategically choose a show that would be super easy. Yeah, the quality wasn't majorly high, but it's still a very, very, very prestigious major contest that he could have got there and he could have been annihilated because the quality might have been absolutely unreal. But I just I feel a lot more positive towards Sam now he's competed. And the thing is he coached himself as well, like yes. me. Like when I was competing, I think that deserves credit. He was in good condition. I think he's off to a fantastic start. I mean, I think he's he's actually got something for people to follow. I think he's probably going to inspire people to compete now as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I was taking gear. I was taking gear the younger than 23, mate. Do you know what I mean? I mean, rightly or wrongly. So as long as if he's not sort of boasting about taking 20 mil a tren, and eating loads of like shit food, then I don't see how he can be considered garbage for the sport when. You just got to look around in any gym, and you see people that probably love Sam Sulek. I mean, honestly, I heard there was a gym in London. He did a meet and greet, and they said that the queue was like out the gym down the bloody street, And I think good on him. Yeah. So in fact, it's got me wanting to do a tour with him now. Actually.
Oh, I mean, God, I can imagine what the fee would look like for that. He'd probably want $1 million, but. I mean, he's got more followers. The only person in our industry, that has more followers is Bumstead. So
yeah,
he's got more followers than Hadi, Samson, any of these guys.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I think Tim messed up a little bit there, but he did. I think that was a bit. I think he was a bit unfair. Because, like I said, I messaged him and I said, "Oh, I'm just assuming he's talking about." In my head, it was like, "Oh no, he's one of these ones just." Like some of these idiot influencers, you see them literally pulling up like from the needle and they're boasting and bragging about what they're taking and high doses and stuff like that, And I mean, the thing is, like the videos of look, I hate to say it, but like guys like Boston Lloyd and Rich Piana, they bragged about taking and really, really pushed like the high dosage thing. Mm. And I don't, and it's
let me show you something. Let me show you. I hope this.
Yeah. It just
Let me give you an example. This is what I consider a garbage influence.
The cycle right now.
Yeah, nothing crazy. You feel me? Like.
Damn it! I'm gonna have to go to another route.
Do you know what, Ron? And when we were talking, that's the video I was thinking about because I saw that the other day. That's the first time I saw it the other day with a trend twin talking about how much gear he was taking.
Oh, I have to show it. I mean,
I've seen it. And that's the one I was literally thinking about as you and me were just talking a few minutes ago.
Yes, because the fact that they named themselves Trend Twins, and people tried to jump to their defense saying, "Oh, they don't even use Trend." Well, listen to the words straight out of his own mouth. So where was?
And they call me the D-ball kid.
Trying to find it. Let's look at this guy. You're all in control. This is Kenny KO. This is his channel.
I've heard of that name, but I don't follow any of these types of people. They all of them irritate me.
Well, he goes to the expos and it's all natty or not.
It's annoying, isn't it? Do you see I saw the one where he was interviewing the woman and she's like, it's like none of your business. I mean, like, how annoying filming something and then being right in their face and asking them something personal. Because some people, especially in America, isn't it kind of illegal? You know?
It's quite illegal here.
What if you'd have gone up to Ronnie Coleman when he was a cop in 99 or 2000 and said, "What's your cycle?" And then he said, "Oh, I'm taking this, this, and this." And then the police find out, and you don't know. People sometimes have a reason to kind of keep that kind of information to themselves, and especially asking a woman as well. I think that's really. She should have said, "You're not filming. I don't give you permission to film this," because it's quite intrusive, I think.
So is this the one? No, I can't find it, but. The Trend Twins, they did. They put
above.
You saw it?
There it is. There.
Where?
Get down on the left, bottom left. There.
Oh, here we go. Thank you, Giles. Thank you.
There you go.
Cycle right now?
Yeah.
Nothing crazy, you feel me? Like Trenes, some Deca, methyl tren.
Over a gram per week or under?
I'm at like 2 grams right now.
2 grams? Oh, I was like, no way.
I'm just kidding. I'm just running a little bit of test, EQ, and Anavar. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Beginner cycle.
Pretty much. I just tore my pec. I'm not trying to tear another muscle.
And are you doing the same cycle?
No, bro. I've always taken a little bit less, but like he's lying. I'm not. Why the f did I lie?
So,
Rod.
Yeah.
Tren and methyltrenolone. That's the 1 milligram per mil. That is. Do you know that's the most androgenic, toxic binding androgen you can take? I mean, I remember I used to take it years ago, and this is when I was in a period where my training and diet was shit. And I remember I used to use an insulin pen, and I used to inject it in my leg. About 45 minutes went to the gym, and I used to have savage workouts. And I remember it was so. I remember reading up about how strongly it binds to the androgen receptors. It's so toxic. It's like sort of putting Anadrol or an Apollon on your cornflakes in the morning. It's so toxic. So he's taking Trenace and methyltrenolone, and then I forget the other stuff he said, but like that on top, and he's like, "This is nothing." I mean, come on, this is not. These are the influence that need to be. I mean, it's bad.
I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I've never met them, but they sound like very, very unintelligent guys. They sound very, very ignorant. Like they said, why the EQ? He goes, EQ because it keeps your levels of EQ. Because Sam's an engineering student. I don't know if he's still in school, but
he's got a beautiful speaking voice. He's very, very well spoken. You can see he's a smart guy. And the thing is, the fact that he's because I don't really see a team around him. It's just him. He coached himself, and he's doing everything himself. I kind of got to admire that. Someone who's in fact, I actually messaged Neil Hill this morning. I said, "Mate, you need to get hold of Sam Sulek." I said, because you could really guide him, and he could, in a couple of years' time, he could be a pretty good pro. Because the thing is, it's not just about coaching; it's having someone that. But the thing is, I mean, he's got a great physique, and I don't think his skin's that bad. I mean, I think he's got a nice physique, and I thought and you know me, I'm a conditioning snob. I thought his conditioning was great, and he made those improvements in his legs and stuff, the way he posed. So he's someone who's smart enough that can take critique, he can listen to it, he can, So to me, that's a sign of intelligence. That's a sign of somebody that is, and like you said, he doesn't get pulled into. I don't see him arguing with people online.
Never.
He seems like a pretty cool guy, actually. A pretty cool guy. Yeah, I think like Bumstead's like that. He's kind of a cool guy as well.
I hope you can get a tour with that guy because I think it would be fantastic. I think you would have no problem selling out giant venues anywhere you wanted to go.
Yeah,
and he would do a fantastic job with the Q&As and all that stuff.
He's a good talker. I've seen him I remember when he won the muscle contest. He won the qualifier, and I watched it all. Watched his interview backstage, and I just thought. I remember because obviously you and me have interviewed hundreds of people, and sometimes when somebody's backstage, you want them to say something interesting, and the guy just literally did that, and he just spoke beautifully. It was like a really well. He came. To be honest, I thought, what a classy guy.
And look, Giles, you guys have something in common. Kitty cat.
See, he loves his cats. Of course he's cool.
Man. So let's go to our final topic of the Power Hour. Whoo, this is gonna be a little. We might get a little bit of heat for this one, but you know what?
Here we go.
So This gentleman is Men's Physique Pro, Riccardo Croci is he from Italy?
I believe so, yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a pretty Italian name. So this is an example. If we're saying that men's physique is getting too big, we're probably talking about guys like this. The size that he carries, and look at that tiny waist. I don't know how he keeps the waist so small, but that's as much size as a classic guy is supposed to have. Yeah. So how did the debate start? I mean, we've been talking about it for a while, but when did this start really bothering you? The men's physique guys were starting to put on a lot.
I've noticed him in the last couple of years, and I think he's one of these who competes strategically. So he will get himself down into a weight limit, and he will make a weight limit. But when I remember when I first saw the pictures, I thought, oh no, that's too big. That's too big for men's physique. He's carrying too much thickness, and he actually comes in. You can see he actually loses a lot of fullness and kind of thickness, just so he can make weight and actually get on stage. But when this guy is not restricted, he's pretty. In fact, go back to the main page, and I'll go down to the one picture, the one I sent to you on the group chat. Like me, hang on, go down. Hang on.
He likes that picture so much; it's the thumbnail for a bunch of other reels. So I kept it.
Okay, this one on the left there. That one there. He's next to a two. No, go up. That one there.
Yeah, there we go.
He's next to a 212 Pro there. And can you tell me who's who? Because that looks like an open guy posing next to a 212 guy to me.
So he definitely loses size when he competes, because that would be unacceptable. I can't imagine a judge putting that in anything less than like the third call out. That's too big.
Look, at the end of the day, men's physique was supposed to be an entry-level physique for guys that wanted like this kind of beach body, like bikini. It was like, the Hawaiian tropic type, the beach body and, just nice muscularity. I mean, really, like if I try to explain, men's physique to kind of somebody on the street, I'd say, look, it's kind of like pretty boy chest and abs, nice hair, nice teeth, nice pecs, small waist, wide shoulders, and kind of not the kind of muscularity you'd expect to see like an open guy or a 212 guy, or even some of the classic guys, like Summerfield. He's big, he's not small. I don't even know. I mean, you always get these ones that kind of, they're anomalies, like comparing Logan to Mike Summerfield. Like you wouldn't believe that both guys were kind of on a weight limit, because Summerfield looks twice as big as Logan. It looks like he's carrying twice as much muscle.
Yeah.
So I've received a bit of shit. Because the thing is, it's funny because I've been going back and forth. And he wasn't very happy with me. He was very unhappy, and so was Patrick. Patrick Tour has been messaging me, and they're kind of upset. Because the thing is, their argument is, well, I can make weight. I'm still winning shows. I'm doing well. I've done 6 Olympias. What is your problem? Do you know what I mean? Why are you attacking me? And I'm not, because to me, I have an opinion of what a certain, say with all the male and female divisions, sometimes they go to, some of the athletes, these new athletes, they'll go to workshops, or say like I'm doing live stream. I mean, I'll do live stream at these amateur shows. Like I'm off to Sweden in a few weeks to do the live stream there. And you'll get guys that come out in classic, they come out in men's physique, and they come out in the bodybuilding classes. And of course, then judged upon where they placed best, that's pretty much where the judges are saying, okay, that's where you kind of fall. In fact, just type in Michael Kent.
Okay.
Michael Kent. Now, do you remember in 2017, it was on the forum, right? And I saw some pictures of Natalia Coelho, and she just won, I think, her 4th figure pro show. And I remember she was stood on stage, right? And she was stood with her legs like literally touching, because you could see she was trying to hide the size of her legs. And I went on the forum, and I caught so much shit for saying she should switch to physique.
Right.
And they were like, and the logic was, which I do get, I understand. People said, yeah, but if she's still winning pro shows as a figure, why should she switch to physique? That doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, yeah, but you can clearly see that her physique probably wants to grow as well. She's clearly women's physique. And then later, I think that was the year we went to the Olympia, and she got 16th. She didn't get placed in the figure. And then she did a show in Florida as a women's physique. And then the following year, she got 3rd at the Olympia in the women's physique. And then 3 years later, she won it.
Right.
So it was trying to get through that. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're doing well in a category. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best category for you. So, but this is where the amateur and the pro, for me, there's a discrepancy, because I was doing live stream at Sweden last year. And if you listen to my commentary, this guy came out from UK, and I said, oh, amazing physique. I said, but for me, he's too big. So he got 5th place, and he got beaten by guys literally half his size. So anyway, I messaged him and I spoke to the head judge. I think it was Richard Palmer, guy from Texas. I spoke to him and I said, yeah, Michael, he says, oh yeah, he's just too big. That's not basically what men's physique was created for. So I was like, okay. So I got it right in that respect. And then I messaged Michael. I said, you know, he was devastated. He got 5th, you know?
Yeah.
So I messaged this guy and I said, mate, are you going to keep going? He says, oh, you know, I've got to weigh up the financial. My girlfriend, she's, you know, we you know, to keep competing, it's a lot. And I said, mate, you've got the really good physique. I said, but you're coming in kind of too big. I said, either come in flat, deplete, try and just, you know, don't carb up, try and come down a little bit as much as you can. I said, because you're right there. You can turn pro. And I think you can turn pro this year. So anyway, so I'm asking back and forth, and he appreciated the fact that I reached out to him. So, and then I think it was another couple of shows. And then eventually a couple of months later, he got his pro card. Oh, okay. And now he's doing pretty well in pro shows. But I said to him, mate, you've got to be careful you don't get too big. I mean, I've seen it in pros. I think it was Romania. I was doing them. I wouldn't even say the guy's name. He was a European pro, a little short guy. Okay. And as soon as he came on, you could see it. Oh, beautiful physique, tiny waist, big shoulders. But his shoulders and arms were massive. And I think he got like 5th or 6th place or something like that. And then the following year, he came back to the same show and he really like sucked it down, and he came in a lot smaller because he had beautiful proportions, nice small waist, nice aesthetics, nice waistline. He had a really, and he did a lot better. I'm sure he got like 2nd place or something. But it's just my personal opinion. I don't see, to me, men's physique is Jeremy Buendia, Ryan Terry, Ali Bilal. I think that for me, and the thing is, the Ricardo's argument is, well, I'm making weight. Why? You know, it's like, yeah, but you kind of, your shoulders, your arm, I mean, the thickness of that guy's back is unbelievable. Have you seen his back? His back's huge.
Now I need to find a back shot.
But you know what? I can't say it. But you know what? Look at that. That's not men's physique.
Holy crap.
Do you know what? He wouldn't get annihilated in bodybuilding, would he?
Not at all. He would do very well.
That looks like a super heavyweight bodybuilder to me if he was amateur. Right. But like, I don't get it. Because thing is, surely he's having to, if he's that picture we showed before where he's next to the 212 guy, that's kind of, he's probably close to condition there. So why is he then having to suck it down just so he can get in some board shorts and get on a men's physique stage? I don't get it, man. I
mean, I assume he must think he's going to do better in men's physique.
Yeah, it's strategic, isn't it? I get it. No, I get it. But I just, like, if I was, this is why I should never be a judge, because I would really hold fast. I would stick fast. And even if the head judge had him in the middle and stuff, I'd be like, no, that is too big for men's physique. Like sometimes I've actually been at shows, you know, I've actually taken the headphones off and I've walked away from certain categories because I have to hand it over to somebody else because I don't want to be seen as being too critical, but I have my own personal view. And I know I've been there right from the start when Mark Anthony won it. What was it, in 2013, 2014 when he won it? Yep. You know, so for me, one thing is, part of me, the conspiracy theorist in me thinks if they let guys like this do really, really well in men's physique, it's only because they're paving the way for yet another category. Can you believe now that Fit Model, I saw a video, what was it? Was it Tyler talking about how, you know, if bikini is now too extreme for you, you can do this category. Right. Bikini too extreme. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, well.
Like, that's basically what I think they're doing here. I think if they're just going to let the guys, even if they are somehow making the weight cap, like if you're going to let guys like this with huge physiques do well, then aren't you just basically just allowing, you know, like women's physique was brought in because female bodybuilding got too big. A classic was brought in because they wanted to bring back aesthetics and, you know, because they felt like it had been lost, even though you had guys like Sean Roden win the Olympia in 2018. And now you have guys like this. And I think if this is where, because thing is, like say, I talked to Lauren a lot about this, in the bikini, like, you know, like trends of the color bikini that Ashley's wearing, Itila's hair, less conditioning in the legs, like Jennifer Dory, whoever's at the top has heavy influence on how the amateurs show up to their shows. So you'd think that if like Ryan Terry, you know, whoever's winning the Olympia, it's like, Sean Roden's won the 2018 Olympia. Now they're going to be going for aesthetics more. And then, you know, Rami wins it 2 years later. It's like whoever's at the top is basically who they gauge, you know, how they want the category to go. And that's how the competitors perceive it.
Right.
Well, that is men's physique. That's men's physique. Come on.
That was a couple of years ago. But no, I agree. I mean, Ryan's significantly smaller than Ricardo, who we just saw, and Ryan's he's the Olympia champ. So
would Ricardo even get a call out next to Brian now? And the thing is, you ask the judges, and they'll tell you, well, he's too big.
You know, as far as you mentioned that the women's fit model, I'm making it's not even a bold prediction. I don't think I have to be very smart to say this, but at the end of this year, I think Tyler Mannion will make a post announcing male fit model.
Yeah,
will begin in the spring 2026 season, because men's physique has gotten too extreme.
Yeah,
it's no longer an entry level division for men,
and
so fit model is basically natural bikini, because bikini girls started getting into the Primo and the Anavar and the Clen.
Yeah.
And they got a bigger, harder look. And men's physique, from when it started 12 years ago, it's nothing like that anymore.
Look, I've seen it. I remember the show. It was a IFBB show. And there was a guy that was really big, and I think he got 6th place. And it's funny because the guy I think who won or got 2nd, he looked like his little brother. He was tiny, this kid. And he just had like a little, small, neat, kind of like athletic-looking physique, and he beat him. Now, he must have been backstage. He must have been thinking, I got beaten by someone that probably, would... and that's kind of how it should be judged. It should be about, this.
Yeah.
So thing is, I'm not going to get too upset because this one guy is because the thing is, he's doing well, so good luck to him.
Yeah.
But I just think the thing is, it's up to the judges to mark these people down and be brave enough to do that.
Well, that's
really.
Like I said, women's physique started out with a certain look. Dana Lynn Bailey was the first winner. Dana Lynn Bailey would not be in the first 2 call-outs at the Women's Physique Olympia now. She's much too small. Look at figure the way that Sydney Gillen. That's how good she was. She was coming in smaller and softer every year and still beating. Whilst all the other girls like Jessica and all these other ones were coming in. And what's her name? What's the name of that girl? Anyway, they were all getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, looking like almost not even women's physique, almost like bodybuilding shoulders and split, shredded legs, and they still weren't beating her. So I just think sometimes they've only got themselves to blame sometimes, the federations. But the thing is that they just creates a need for a new category, which because I think the fit model thing. I mean, I spoke about this before. For me, that's beauty pageants have no place in bodybuilding. I just don't at bodybuilding shows. I personally go to bodybuilding shows. I'll happily sit there. Well, I'll sit there and watch all the. Sometimes I have to do commentary on all these different categories, even if I'm not that interested in them. But, something like fit model, what on earth am I going to say when they walk out on stage? When they've got just normal looking bodies and they're just pretty girls. I mean, I'll be like, yeah, it's I don't even know how to critique that. I don't even know what my place would be in sort of commentating on something like that. So, and I can see if this is the way they're going with men's physique, then I can see them creating just another new category, which to me it's just horrible. Yeah, I mean, and I saw, Cormier was one of the people saying, yeah, this is a great idea for a new men's division that'll be toned down. And I heard people chiming in, competitors saying, yeah, these guys are on drugs. I said, well, there are natural shows, NPC. There are a couple natural pro shows. There's a few of them on the roster. The NPC instituted a bunch of natural shows. Those are happening. My son's competing in one, for goodness sake.
Natural, no, it's just passing a drug. I don't see. Let's not get in. Do you want to get into that discussion? Because to me, it's about passing a drug test. There's a big difference between natural and passing a drug test. Agreed. So there's a chance that just half those competitors might just know how to pass a drug test. They might not be natural. I said, I'm at a conversation when I had that guy who used to be a natural, and then he started competing in the IFBB, and I said, "Oh, you're on the gear now because you're switching." I said, "You look a lot bigger." He says, no, I'm still natural. I'm just using Mastron, GH, and diuretics. I was like, you're not natural then. No wonder you put size on.
Naturally on drugs, as we used to say.
Yeah.
But it is up to the judges to hold strict to a standard. And if people are, especially in this division, if guys are coming in too big, you don't place them highly. You don't have them winning shows. I've been to men's physique shows, pro shows, where there are guys who they look like straight up bodybuilders. They just happen to have smaller waists, and they were not placed highly at all. They were in the 2nd or 3rd call-outs, as it should be.
I think it was the old amateur where one of the guys was something like 120 kilo or something because he was weighed.
Yeah.
And then they said 100, and he just basically looked like a bodybuilder. He was a super heavyweight. I was like, that guy probably would have won the super heavyweights.
Yeah, I mean,
And just it really annoys you when you get these monsters walking on stage. And I remember one guy actually, because I remember it was controversial. It was a UKBF show before the split, and this guy walked out, and his legs were busting out of these board shorts.
wow.
And he got third or fourth, which was right because he was too big. And they gave him a qualification in the 80 or 90 kilo without having to do the bodybuilding class as well.
Wow.
So he qualified for the British Championships as a bodybuilder, but he didn't do the bodybuilding class. He just did board shorts and then, men's physique. And they said, oh, well, clearly you're a bodybuilder. And we'll qualify you as a bodybuilder. So I think it's stuff like that caused the split in the first place, because they just make shit up as they go along, you know? It's like funny, going back to what we were saying before, there was, I remember the president one year, the UKBF show, he went crazy with the judges because I was sat right behind, because they let the intermediate winner go up in the overall. This was about 2011. And he ended up getting second in the overall. He was really good. He looked like a mini flex wheeler. Beautiful physique.
Yeah.
And he came over and he said, you should not have let that guy. And the pre-judging was done. I think Cecil Crosdale won the overall on the pro card. But the guy that won the intermediates, they let him jump into the judges said, no, he's really good, so we're going to put him up in the overall. And then the federation president said, you shouldn't have done that. So he told all the judges off in front of everyone.
Wow.
So stuff like that. This is but you don't see that anymore, because the rules are pretty set in stone with the NPC. You don't see shit like that anymore. And the judging is pretty. I think the judging is pretty good now. But it's not. I like seeing guys marked down because their physiques are too good. You know. But I just think, come on, guys, you've got to have a little bit more. I know they try their best by putting in a weight cap, because I didn't even agree with the weight cap. I just thought, okay. But, you know.
I have to wonder about that. The guy we were just looking at, Ricardo, I don't see – well, I guess he loses weight because the pictures we were looking at were bigger. I bet he's 10 or 15 pounds heavier there than he is on stage.
Yeah, and he's in condition, isn't he?
100%. He could be competing in that. I mean, that looks like contest shape that he had in those other pictures.
And the thing is, some of these guys, you know that they really keep their legs a lot smaller so they can have more weight. Right. In their upper bodies. So think about how you look if you were on a beach in some trunks rather than board shorts. You'd look ridiculous. Oh. I mean, I've seen Ryan Terry's legs. Ryan Terry's got amazing legs. It's a crime almost that he actually has to hide them, because I've seen his quads. And like I said, I was at the gym once in Leeds. He was doing an appearance at a supplement store, and he was training hamstrings for about 45, 50 minutes, because I was doing quads, and I was like, I'm nearly done now, and he's pretty much still training hamstrings here. I was like, why? I went up to him, I said, why are you still training hamstrings? I said, why are you even training hamstrings? He says, you've got to train everything, Giles. He says, my roots are as a bodybuilder. He says, and yes, I compete in men's physique. He says, but you know, who wants to have a physique that's completely out of balance? It's not all about getting up on stage. It's about, walking around with chicken legs in your bedroom, you know? It's true, isn't it? It's true.
Well, you know, I don't think we solved the problem, but the judges, they're not rewarding the guys that come in huge, and even that Ricardo guy doesn't come in as huge as he could. So I guess he's fair play. He's coming in at the weight limit. They gave him a weight limit, and all the other men's physique pros, and they're adhering to it. But
wouldn't he look cool as an open with that tiny waist?
Yeah, I mean,
you know, it's like wanting to see Wesley as an open. I want to see him bursting full and not, because Wesley might. I mean, just say for example, like if you ask Wesley, if he actually prepped properly, not properly, but without any restrictions on diet, food, which he has to do to keep his body weight down. You know, who's to say that he couldn't look absolutely his best at like 14 pounds heavier? And now 14 pounds or something like that might be more. You know, with no restrictions, as a full proper prep and proper off season. You know, these guys, and it's like Flex Lewis. We never got to see the 225-pound version of Flex Lewis. Probably Flex Lewis and his wife got to see the best version of Flex Lewis, because we never got to see it, because he never competed as an open when he was at his best, because he was coming in at 212, and really he's a 225-pound. That's where he looks his best.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of us meatheads used to talk disparagingly about the men's physique guys, that they weren't very big, and if this guy's bigger than I never had muscles like this. I took plenty of that's open bodybuilding level mass with a tiny waist.
But because he's obviously I'm seen as like attacking and hating him now, and you have not seen me on stage. And it's like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I haven't seen you on stage, but I don't need to because I can see in these videos that you're squeezing yourself down into a weight limit just so you can compete in a category that you feel you're more successful at. So fair play. I mean, if the judges aren't going to mark him down and he's qualifying and winning shows and and for the Olympia and stuff, then fair play to him. But it doesn't mean I have to agree with it because I have my own views. It's like having a view on what bikini should be.
Yes.
I remember the first year the Olympia, I had what's Steve Kuklow's ex-wife called?
Amanda Latona.
I had her winning that year. I think she was 5th that year, and I was like, no, she's clearly the best. And that was the first year, so I didn't even none of us really knew what the criteria was even then. So it's like in these categories like bikini and men's physique, the criteria is even more subjective, than it is in the open or the 212 or even classic. I mean, you remember the arguments you stuff like, George Peterson, is he classic? And it's like, well, they'd be saying, well, he's making weight. Mike Summerfield, is Logan more classic than Mike Summerfield? Because, it's down to interpretation. But the thing is, I mean, we all have our own interpretation of the criteria, but sometimes I think the judges know what the criteria is. It's like they say that, like in women's physique and figure, you're not supposed to have cross striations or shredded glutes, and then you see the top 6, they've all in women's physique, and they've all got shredded glutes.
Yes.
It's like the judges have said to me, sometimes we've just got to judge what shows up. We've got no control over what shows up. They tried reversing muscularity in bodybuilding 20, 30 years ago in 91, coming 20% less muscular than they do, and then they place worse. It's like, so Paula Birkenstock, when she got 8, she came in softer and how they wanted her to the next year, and she got 11, so she dropped down even further.
Yeah.
So it must be confusing for the athletes. I do feel for them sometimes, but then you get examples like this where I just think that to me is not men's physique. Sorry.
I just want to note Paula Birkenshaw, for you guys don't know, was a female bodybuilder from the UK. She came out. He came out and didn't she flipped off the judges like this?
Wankers, she's doing that. Yeah, she went in the pros down, and Arnold was clapping, laughing, going. And this is his show. And you'd think he'd be furious, and he was just like loving it. He loved it.
Yeah, good old days. Good old days.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
imagine being backstage, getting your clothes on because you make top 6, and you go, fuck this. Go out and start abusing the judges on stage while the top 6 is posing down.
I think that was the end of Paula right there when she did.
It was 1991 that was, and she got 8th, and she was like the muscularity Kim Chesevsky brought when she was winning her 4 Olympics. Like she took it to like Bev Francis in 91, like taking it to another level. And funnily enough, that was the year that so they tried to rewind it, and then Bev Francis turns up looking freaky as hell at the Olympia, like we'd never really seen a woman before at 1991 Olympia. Just a few months later, and she gets 2nd. So what a mixed signals they're sending out. And then you had Anja Schreiner. Oh God, you're really going back now. Anja Schreiner, who probably she wouldn't even be big enough for figure now.
No, not at all. Anja Schreiner from Germany,
getting beat by a legit female bodybuilder, beating her like Paul Birkenshaw, who's in 8th place.
Yeah. I think that was 1990. They were really trying to downsize women's bodybuilding. 91. It didn't pan out, as we know.
Yeah, like one thing is like they tried drug testing the men's open in 1990.
Yep.
The 1990 Arnold Classic and Olympia, they tried drug testing, and that was just they tried testing for diuretics in 2001, and then Jay Cutler threatened to take him to court. It's like you can see it must be frustrating. It must be quite hard, but at the end of the day, that we have to kind of, if you have these criteria laid out, then please bloody stick to them.
The problem is, because in the defense of the judges, I guess, is that what's going to happen with Fit Model, it happens in every division. There's a certain look now, and some girls coach is going to say, let's give you 5 milligrams of Anavar a day and 20 milligrams of cleanse, just make you a little bit bigger and harder. That girl wins, and then the other girls say, oh, I guess we do need to be a little bit bigger and harder. And it just escalates and escalates from there. And eventually that division's look changes all over again. And what are you going to make? You're going to keep making more divisions forever and ever?
I think wellness has dropped off a little bit, because the first year everyone was loving it. And then I was at some of the pro shows, and I was seeing some of the wellness girls walking around, and they looked like they were on more gear than the female bodybuilders.
Oh yeah,
some of them I couldn't believe it when I saw some come off stage. I was like, holy shit! And their deep voices, and you could see, even with the makeup, we've got a trained eye, we know what we're looking at. You know what I mean? But like say now, it's like really like I think some of the figure girls are even bigger than the women's physique. So how does that work?
Oh, I mean the women's divisions, there's so many gray areas between divisions. I've been at shows where I'd say some of these women in figure should be in women's physique, and vice versa. I've seen some in women's physique shows where they didn't have the mass. I said, I don't know why this woman isn't in figure. She looks like a figure competitor. So kind of blurred lines between a lot of these female because there's so many divisions now.
And because of the conditioning being better in women's physique than it is in, let's be honest, in female bodybuilding on the whole.
Yes.
You've got leaner, more muscular girls in women's physique than you have in some of the female bodybuilding. Because like sometimes you'll see like one or two female bodybuilders that you're okay, they're female bodybuilders. And then the rest are just kind of like, they're not in shape. And then you go to women's physique and girls who's like 12th place are absolutely shredded.
Yeah.
So it's oh man, it must drive the in some ways I feel bad for the federation because they must, like you said, I've spoke to the judge and they say, well, we've got to judge what turns up. You know, we've got to literally, we don't. Bob Chick said that once. He said they've got to judge what turns up on stages. They've got no control over. You know, they ask them to not come in as hard and dry, and then everyone's hard and dry. How do they do? What they just say? Sorry, we're disqualifying all of you. We're not judging you. You know, what can they do? What can they do? It's the name of the game. It's the way of the beast. You know, but I don't know. But I think this men's physique, you've got to be careful. I mean, I have some faith because Ali Bilal and Ryan Terry. For me, that's Jeremy Buendia. I mean, that to me is that's the size and shape but you know, people say, oh, things evolve. It's like, yeah, but they shouldn't evolve. If you evolve that way, you're devolving. You know, you're not evolving. You're going backwards, not forward for the sake of the category. So the judges have to mark accordingly. Because if they mark someone down and say, see, Jeremy Buendia came in and he was fucking huge and 20 pounds in there, and they marked him down to 8th place. And he said, why did I get 8th place? I was in really good condition. I'm bigger and more muscular. Well, you're coming too big, mate. So we marked you down. Comes back the next year, drops 20 pounds and wins again. You know, you send the signals to the athletes by placing them accordingly. So,
I mean, every division is supposed to have a very distinct look. You know, sometimes they'll have different trunks and board shorts, so you know immediately. But you should be able to look at a physique and say, okay, well, that's except for 212, they're just shorter open bodybuilders, but with the women, you should say, okay, well, that's a bikini competitor. That's a physique, women's physique. That's figure. That's wellness. They should all have very, very different looks. If they start blending together where they look like they could do well in another division, that's not a good thing. That means they're not right for that division because the division is supposed to have a certain standard. And if you're not meeting that standard, you should move up to another division.
Do you remember that girl in the fitness? The second little, I don't know what nationality was, but the one with the really good routine, but she had no physique that first year.
Oh yeah, she was from Canada. She was Asian.
Yeah. And she got like second at the Olympia, and it was like, but her routine was that good because she was a gymnast. But she had like no fit. She just like a normal girl. She didn't have like a physique that you'd like say Missy or Ariel have. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's tough. It's tough. It's just what it is. I mean, like I said, I'm not personally. I mean, I'm not personally attacking anyone, and I feel bad for even singling that guy out. But you know, we did have a bit of back and forth, and I don't want people to start. You know, people, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, okay, well, that's just my opinion. You know, take it or leave it. You know, and then I always give that Natalia Coelho sort of anecdote. You know, where and the next thing you know, she goes to women's physique and she starts winning. You know, and she's winning big. You know, she won the Olympiads. Now she's top 2 in the world. You know, I just sometimes, you can't say to someone that's been doing this 30 years, they don't know what they're talking about, you know. But because like I said, that Michael Kent example, that was a guy in a very similar situation where he was like, to me, he looked like how Ricardo might look in a pro lineup. I'm like, you're too big, mate. And I said to the hard judge, I said, what happened? He said, he's too big. He said, great physique, but needs to bring it down a bit. So that's why I reached out to him when I messaged him. So I'm not trying to hate. I'm trying to help these people be better. I don't know. It's just,
it's unfortunate that constructive criticism is often taken as hate or just outright, we're shitting on people. We both have a very, very deep love and respect and passion for the sport, the industry, the athletes. We've both competed. When we make critiques, we're not just being mean or assholes. We're expressing opinions, but for the most part, we're always trying to make these people better versions of themselves.
I like conditioning and posing. You speak to Samir Banu, he likes aesthetics. He likes classic poses, the tilting the hips. He likes the overhead shots. We all have our likes and dislikes. And I'll always put it out there. Say, guys, just to warn you, I'm a conditioning guy and I like good presentation. And if you don't have that, and I know that you could improve on that, I'm going to call that out. Yeah. I'm going to point that out, you know? I mean, I could give you hundreds of examples. Do you know what I mean? Of situations like that. You know, it's I had Bumstead over Martin at the Prague show last year because I thought he had better condition, better separation, better presentation. You know, it's not. I don't hate Martin. I don't. You know, it's just you know, like so. I don't know. I mean, it's not going to make me back away from the live stream commentary though, because I get more appreciation than I do. It's like 95% appreciation. You know, and sometimes you know you're going for lunch at these shows, and then you're on your feed, and all these people are tagging you into videos where they've screen grabbed some of your commentary and I go, oh, thank you so much for this feedback. Because a lot of athletes, they just want feedback, especially the amateurs. Yeah. They just want some sort of feedback, you know, and they really, because sometimes you've seen them at the show queuing up to see the judges. And the judges, I bet half the judges don't even remember these people because they're all clothed. Right. And they're like, oh yeah, you need to do this, this, and this. And I'm thinking, you don't remember who that person is. You know, it's just so stuff like the you know, like when there's a panel of us, there's 3 or 4 of us on the you know, on the live stream commentary panel. We're giving our honest take with good intent, and it's all meant in a positive way. And to be honest, if I wasn't positive, the promoters wouldn't ask me back. So. Oh, I mean, and as a competitor, I would very much appreciate being able to watch the replay and think, here's what they said about me. Here's what was good. Here's what I need to improve on. That's very, very helpful. You know, judges, obviously, they want the feedback. Those are the people that are actually scoring them. But experienced guys like yourself who've been to, I don't know, 10, 12,000 contests probably over the years. You've been to a lot of shows. You know what you're looking at. And you know what physiques, I mean, the strong and weak points. We do 12-hour days on some of these commentaries. And the thing is, you can't just dip off and start being a bit, you've got to concentrate, you've got to focus, because the thing is, these people will be watching that. And I'm conscious, 12 hours, it's like at the front of my mind thinking, they're going to watch this. So you need to, you know, be constructive, be helpful, you know, and you don't just say everyone's great, everyone's wonderful, everyone's amazing, let's all get a participation trophy. You don't do that, because then you just, what's the point of even being there? What's the point of just, you know, getting on a plane, going to another country and spending 12 hours a day for what? Just to sort of blow smoke up everyone's ass. That's not helpful, you know, because like I remember looking at my first contest pictures and I was thinking, oh shit, my trap's getting a little bit, they're probably going to start getting a bit too big there, and they're going to make my shoulder to waist. I'm going to lose that. So I stopped training my traps for a year, started working on my shoulders more, trying to bring my waist in, you know, stuff like that, because I knew what I was looking at. Do you know what I mean? I was experienced, you know, and I should. I was going off my pictures and my videos, and I was really analyzing. I'm going to get my legs, I've got to get the calves up, need more separation here, you know. But, you know, some of these people, they're so new to the sport, they won't know that. So if somebody like, you know, like there's me, Minna, say Lauren, or Ashkan, or, you know, whoever we do the commentary with, sometimes, you know, Branch jumps on, or someone like that, or, you know, you're working with George Farah, Chris Cormier, you know, this kind of commentary is very, very helpful for them, you know. And like I said, it's overwhelmingly positive, but then you will get, you know, the odd time when, especially on things like Instagram, where people get emotionally triggered, they respond emotionally, and the next thing you know, you've got their fans and their friends who don't really know what they're talking about, jumping on, thinking you're hating, and then it's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's just, oh boy. Giles, we have been going for almost an hour and a half for the Power Hour. So, man, powered by D-Ball. Mate, I tell you what, I've just had 4 weeks of the best training I've had for 10 years. 5 days a week, 5 cardio. My food, my training is absolutely the best it's going. Honestly, my strength is going up. I'm filling out. I feel. And I'm only, 625 mega a week I'm on. Your shoulder healed themselves. Yeah, shoulders. I was benching nearly 2 plates. I mean, I couldn't even bench an empty bar 2 months ago. 3 months ago. You didn't put it on your Instagram, but I saw it. I saw that it was too. Did you see how, like, sometimes when I'd be doing this, I'd be, I can't see, like, I mean, it's a bit stiff there because I've been sitting in that position, but like, I used to really hurt, like, just doing this. Like, I used to really struggle. My back would be sweaty, like, from doing this, talking for an hour, because, like, it would just really hurt. But it's good. God bless, because I'm going in a couple of weeks for a meeting with a surgeon, because I wish I hadn't gotten that last cortisone shot February 24th. You said. Not only did it do nothing, but that's going to delay the surgery because it's an immunosuppressive agent, and it increases the risk of sepsis if you have the replacement done too soon to that. So, I'm going to get it done. It's just
this is agony. Chest and shoulder day is just like I can barely do a damn thing now.
I was told not to train at all last March, but I carried on training my back, my arms, and my legs just on a rotation. And I was only doing 3-4 days a week, and it's just you're just barely hanging on, you know. And I could see my shoulders and my chest shrinking away and stuff like that, and it was devastating. And then, you know, through the intermittent fasting, the peptides, the BPC, the TB500, I cut out alcohol, the sugar, carbs, pretty much to bring down the inflammation. Fasted cardio to get the blood moving around the body to help the recovery. Like all those things, it worked. It worked. And then eventually I was like, oh, I might be able to start back training. The surgeon said to me, he says, there's no way, he said, that'll get by itself. He said, surgery is your only answer. He said, that will not improve. And I was like, you know, but I proved him wrong. You know?
You did. Oh, you've done that many times in your life. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up, guys. So, well, thank you, Giles Tiger. And guys, if you have comments or opinions about anything we said in the last 90 minutes, drop it down below. Whether it's you love us, you hate us, you think we're brilliant, you think we're morons, whatever it is, drop a comment. It's good for the algebra rhythm, which is something that they use on YouTube that I'm not really familiar with. So anyway, thank you, Giles Tiger Thomas. Follow him right there, Giles Tiger. You'd see that ticker at the bottom for the EuroMuscleShow.com. Check that out if you're anywhere in Europe. That's going to be the place to be, July through 12th in Amsterdam, city I've never been to, but looking very much forward to going there for the first time this July.
We've announced Ronnie as well.
Ronnie, yeah, there's going to be is Lee Priest confirmed as well?
Ronnie, Lee Priest, Samson's going to be there. He's guest posing both days. We've got the pro show, we've got the amateur show. It's going to be 40. I think they got 45% more floor space, which they filled over last year. I forget who else is going to be there. It's going to be
Wesley's going to be there.
Wesley, yeah. Of course, yeah.
It's going to be a lot. William Bonac will be there, I believe.
Yeah, he will be there. Yep.
You know, all the top European pros from that general area, I'm sure, will be around.
Yeah, so, it's going to be good. Good show.
That's it. Well, I want to thank you again, Giles, and thanks everybody for watching Power Hour, which was over an hour and a half this time. And again, drop a comment, and we'll see you here next time.